That day, I didn't just lose my wedding, I lost my best friend. My maid of honor, on the biggest day of my life, stood up in front of everyone and exposed my deepest secret for the whole world to hear. 60 people. My husband, both our families, the pastor, all staring at me. In that moment, a smile was plastered on my face. But a fire, a cold, quiet, dangerous fire was raging inside me. I made a promise to myself right then and there. If she could destroy my life, I would absolutely, unequivocally destroy hers. And I did. The entire family watched. Let me take you back to where this all started. Because what happened next, I still can't believe it myself. My name is Cassandra. Cassie to the people I love. I grew up in a small suburb outside of Columbus, Ohio. Nothing fancy, nothing dramatic. Just a regular girl with big dreams and one person she called her ride or die. That person was Nicole. Nicole and I had been best friends since 7th grade. 23 years. We had been through everything together. Her parents' divorce, my mom's cancer scare, 2 cross-country moves, 3 terrible ex-boyfriends each, and every single ugly cry in between. She was the first person I called when I got my promotion at the marketing firm. She was the first person I called when Daniel got down on one knee at Millennium Park in Chicago on a Tuesday evening in October. She screamed so loud on the phone that Daniel started laughing. She was going to be my maid of honor. Of course she was. Who else would it be? Daniel was everything. Patient, kind, steady. He worked as a structural engineer and had this quiet confidence that made me feel safe. We had been together for 4 years. We bought our house in Naperville in 2021, 2 bedrooms, a yellow front door, a backyard we argued about repainting every single summer. We were happy, genuinely, honestly happy. The wedding was set for June 14th, 2023. The venue was a vineyard in Geneva, Illinois. 60 guests. White and sage green decor. A live acoustic guitarist. My dream, built piece by piece over 18 months of planning. Nicole was by my side for every single decision, the dress fitting, the cake tasting, the seating chart arguments, the rehearsal dinner, every single step. But here's what I did not know. Nicole had been talking to my husband behind my back, not in the way you might be thinking, at least not at first. It started small. Daniel had told me very early in our relationship about a difficult chapter in my past, a period in my mid-20s when I struggled, when I made choices I am not proud of, when I hit a wall so hard that I had to completely rebuild myself from the ground up. I had told Daniel everything because I trusted him. And Daniel, bless him, had told Nicole once in confidence because he was asking for advice on how to support me. That was 3 years before the wedding. Nicole had been holding that information. Quietly, patiently, like a weapon she was waiting to use. Looking back now, I can see the signs I missed completely. The small comments at dress fittings. "Are you sure you want strapless, Cassie? You've been kind of stressed lately," said with a smile. Always with a smile. The way she inserted herself into every conversation with Daniel, texting him separately, showing up to help him with wedding logistics when I was at work. The way she looked at him sometimes, just a half second too long. I noticed. I pushed it down. I told myself I was being paranoid. She was my best friend. I trusted her with my life. 1 week before the wedding, I got a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize, a woman's voice, shaking. She said, "I don't know you, but I know Nicole, and you need to know what she's been planning." I stared at my phone for 10 full minutes. Then I deleted it. I deleted it because I was 1 week away from the best day of my life, and I refused, absolutely refused, to let anything ruin it. That was the biggest mistake I ever made. But what I didn't know was that this was only the beginning. June 14th, 2023. The most beautiful morning of my life. I woke up at 6 a.m. in the bridal suite at the vineyard. Soft golden light coming through the curtains, the smell of fresh flowers everywhere. My mom was already crying happy tears before I even put on my dress. Nicole was there, bright, smiling, helping me with my veil. "You look absolutely perfect," she said. She squeezed my hands. I believed her. The ceremony started at 4 p.m. 60 guests seated in white wooden chairs between 2 rows of oak trees. Fairy lights strung overhead, The guitarist was playing something soft and slow. Daniel was standing at the altar in his navy suit, and when he saw me walking down the aisle, his eyes filled with tears. I thought, this is it. This is everything. I made it to the altar. The pastor began. We were 4 minutes in, literally 4 minutes when it happened. Nicole stood up. At first I thought something was wrong, a medical emergency, a wasp, something normal, something fixable, but she didn't look panicked. She looked calm, rehearsed. She said loud enough for every single person to hear, "I'm sorry, I can't let this happen." The guitarist stopped. Every head turned. Daniel looked at her, then at me. I felt the blood drain from my face. She kept going. She said that she cared about Daniel too much to watch him make a mistake. She said I had a past that he deserved to know about. She stood in front of my family, his family, our friends, our pastor, and she laid out the most painful chapter of my life like it was evidence in a courtroom. Every detail, every ugly, private, personal detail. Details only Daniel knew. Details Daniel had shared with her in confidence 3 years ago. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I have ever heard. I felt Daniel's hand loosen slightly in mine, just slightly, but I felt it. My mother made a sound I will never forget, half gasp, half cry. His mother leaned over and whispered something to his father, and Nicole, my best friend of 23 years, stood there looking at Daniel like she was saving him, like she was the hero of this story. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, she did something I will never forgive. She pulled out her phone. She read a text message out loud. A message Daniel had sent her 6 weeks before our wedding. He had been venting to her about pre-wedding stress, normal things, doubts every person has before the biggest commitment of their life. Nothing damning, nothing that meant anything real. But Nicole had saved it, screenshotted it, and she read it in front of 60 people like it was a confession. "I just need to know I'm making the right choice," she read. Then she looked up at the crowd and she said, "He deserves better." I did not scream. I did not cry. I stood at that altar in my $2,400 dress in front of everyone I loved, and I felt something shift inside me. Not break, shift. Like a gear locking into place. I turned to Daniel. He looked devastated, confused, embarrassed. I squeezed his hand, firm, steady, and I said quietly, "We will talk. Not here." Then I turned to the pastor and I said, "Could you give us just a moment, please?" I walked calmly, slowly, deliberately to where Nicole was still standing. She looked surprised that I was so composed. I leaned in close. I said only 4 words. "You just made a mistake." Then I walked back to Daniel, took his hand, and asked our guests to please enjoy the cocktail hour while we stepped away briefly. We sat in a small room off the main hall, Daniel and I. Just the two of us. He tried to explain the text. I already knew what it was. Pre-wedding nerves. I wasn't angry at him for having them. I was angry at the person who weaponized them. We talked for 22 minutes. Then we walked back out together, hand in hand. We finished our ceremony. We got married. Nicole was not there when we returned. Someone told me later she had left immediately after I walked away from her. Drove herself home, alone. That night, lying in our hotel room, Daniel asleep beside me, I stared at the ceiling. I thought about that voicemail I deleted, that woman's shaking voice. You need to know what she's been planning. I picked up my phone at 2 a.m. I called the number back. She answered on the second ring. And what she told me changed absolutely everything. So I made some calls. And what I found out changed absolutely everything. Before I tell you what happened next, if you are new here, hit subscribe right now, because this story is about to get a whole lot more interesting. The revenge Cassie planned was not loud. It was not messy. It was surgical, and Nicole never saw a single piece of it coming. Her name was Amber. She had dated Nicole's older brother, Marcus, for 2 years. They had broken up 8 months before my wedding. Messy split. Lots of leftover anger. But Amber had stayed close enough to the family to know things. Important things. She told me everything that night at 2 a.m., her voice still shaking, words tumbling out like she had been holding them for months. Nicole had not acted alone. Here is what I learned. Nicole had been developing feelings for Daniel for over a year. She had convinced herself that they had a connection. She had been texting him regularly, friendly at first, then increasingly personal. Daniel, being Daniel, never thought anything of it. He was just talking to his fiancé's best friend. But Nicole had a plan. She had been slowly collecting information, screenshots, conversations, my private history that Daniel had shared with her in confidence. She had been building a case, methodically, deliberately, to present at the worst possible moment. She wanted Daniel to see me fall apart. She wanted to be there to pick up the pieces. And there was one more thing Amber told me. Nicole had a business, a small event planning company she had launched 18 months earlier. She had exactly 11 clients on her books. 3 of them were mutual friends from our social circle. Friends who had hired her specifically because she was my best friend, because I had personally recommended her, repeatedly, enthusiastically. That business was her entire income, her entire identity. I wrote everything down, then I went to sleep. The next morning, I made 3 phone calls. The first was to my cousin Rachel, who worked in corporate HR and knew employment law inside out. The second was to a woman named Patricia, a mutual friend who had hired Nicole to plan her daughter's quinceañera in September. The third was to Daniel. I told him everything Amber had told me. He sat quietly for a long time. Then he said, "What do you need from me?" I said, "Your email password." He handed me his phone without a word. What I found in Daniel's email took my breath away. 47 messages from Nicole over 14 months. 47, most were innocent enough on the surface. But read together, in sequence, the pattern was undeniable, the escalating familiarity, the subtle undermining of me, little comments woven in casually. "Cassie always overthinks everything, doesn't she? And you deserve someone who is completely stable, Daniel." Slowly, patiently, deliberately poisoning him against me, I forwarded every single one to myself. Then I called Rachel back. Here is where it gets good. Nicole had used my name, specifically, explicitly, in her business marketing materials. Her website listed me as a reference. Her Instagram featured photos from events I had attended with her, tagging me, using our friendship as social proof. She had built her professional reputation on my name. Rachel made some calls of her own. 2 days later, we had documented evidence that Nicole had shared confidential client information from a previous job, a direct violation of the NDA she had signed with her former employer. Rachel knew someone at that company. The wheels started turning. And the best part, Nicole had no idea any of this was happening. She had gone quiet after the wedding, no calls, no texts, probably assuming I was devastated, probably waiting for the fallout, probably checking Daniel's social media every hour. While she was watching for smoke, I was building the fire. It took 6 weeks. 6 quiet, focused, deliberate weeks. Then everything happened within 48 hours. Patricia canceled Nicole's contract for the quinceañera, sent a formal written notice citing loss of confidence and professional integrity. 2 other mutual friends followed within 24 hours. Both sent similar letters. I had not asked them to. They had simply heard what happened at my wedding, because word travels, and made their own decisions. 3 clients. Gone. Then Nicole's former employer contacted her directly about the NDA violation. Their legal team sent a formal letter. I know this because Amber told me. Nicole had called Marcus in a panic, crying, saying her business was collapsing and she didn't understand why everything was falling apart at once. She still didn't know it was me. Then came the family dinner. Daniel's parents hosted a belated wedding celebration dinner 6 weeks after our ceremony. Small gathering, immediate family only, 12 people around one long table. Nicole was not invited, but Daniel's aunt, who had been at the wedding, had stayed in contact with Nicole. And somehow, Nicole found out about the dinner. She showed up uninvited, knocked on the front door, said she wanted to apologize, said she wanted to explain herself. Daniel's mother opened the door. She looked at Nicole for a long moment. Then she stepped aside, and Nicole walked in, right into the dining room, right into the room where I was sitting. The table went completely silent. Nicole looked around the room. She saw Daniel's family. She saw Daniel. Then her eyes landed on me. I was already looking at her. I did not look surprised. I did not look angry. I just looked at her calmly. like I had been expecting her. Because I had. I reached into the bag beside my chair. I placed the manila folder on the table in front of me. Nicole's eyes dropped to it immediately. Her face changed. I said, "Sit down, Nicole." She sat. I opened the folder slowly. Printed emails, screenshots, the NDA documentation, a printed copy of her business website with my name highlighted in yellow, a letter from Patricia, letters from the 2 other clients. I laid each page out one by one. The whole family watched. Nicole's hands started shaking before I even spoke a word. I said, "You spent 14 months trying to take my life apart." She opened her mouth. I kept going. "You used Daniel's private words as a weapon. You used my personal history as ammunition. You used my name to build your business. And then you tried to destroy me with it." Her eyes filled with tears. I felt nothing. I said, "I didn't come here to scream at you. I came here to make sure you understood clearly, completely, that every single action has a consequence." I closed the folder, slid it across the table to her. "That's yours to keep." Nicole left without saying a word. She sold what remained of her event planning business 4 months later. I heard through Amber that she moved out of Chicago entirely, relocated to somewhere in Arizona, started completely over. Daniel and I celebrated our 1-year anniversary at the same vineyard where we got married, same oak trees, same fairy lights. We slow danced alone on the empty venue floor at 9 p.m. after everyone else had gone home. He looked at me and said, "I'm glad you stayed calm that day." I laughed. I said, "I wasn't calm. I was calculating." He laughed too. And then the final thing I did not expect. 3 months ago, I received a handwritten letter. No return address. Arizona postmark. 3 sentences. I know sorry doesn't cover it. I was in love with something that was never mine. I hope you're happy. I read it once. Then I put it in a drawer. Some apologies are too late to matter, but they are still proof that karma always, always finds its way home. And honestly, I don't regret a single thing, not one decision, not one phone call, not one page in that folder. Because some people need to see the consequences of what they do. They need to understand that betrayal is not free, that using someone's pain as a weapon has a price, that smiling while you destroy someone does not make you safe, it just makes you overconfident. And overconfident people, they never see it coming. If you have ever been betrayed by someone you completely trusted, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story hit different for you today, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Justice is not always loud. Sometimes it is 6 quiet weeks and a manila folder. I'll see you in the next one.